Shalom, everyone. It's 4:44 a.m. and I'm coming to share a very serious dream that I was granted this morning. I just finished writing notes and writing down the scriptures and the understanding of the dream. I pray that you take this directly to Father in prayer. It is a very serious warning, but in this dream, I knew that the wedding was about to commence. We were dressed and ready. I saw myself with other women dressed in bridesmaids' dresses to the likeness of Cinderella's dress, the color and the style almost exact. And I understood that I was to stand next in line to the bride, like the maid of honor. And I knew I was second in line. I was given that in the dream. Not really sure what that part means, but anyway, we sat inside of a church building and we were dressed and waiting for the ceremony to commence. And as we thought we were going to attend the wedding there at the church, we were just waiting. And then I saw a man whom I will not name, but I saw him and he was dressed like a woman. He had on a dress similar to ours. He had fake woman parts and he had on a wig. But it was very uncomfortable to watch this. And I sat and I observed all without saying a word. But I knew in my thoughts that this was not right. And I saw him conversing with the pastor at the front of the church. And he had a very prideful attitude about himself. And I know that is a play on words. I'll explain it at the end of this dream. But he seemed to be an imposter. And he was a bit of a busybody, just walking about to and fro through the aisles with pride. Then, through a side door, I saw another group of women come through the side, like toward the front of the church by the choir section, and they were dressed in red and black clothing. Their blouses were red and the skirts were black. He showed me in particular a person, a woman whom I know personally, I will not name, and he allowed me to notice her posture, her stature as she walked into the church. She had her Bible in hand and she was walking proudly to her seat, and they were walking in a single file line. Next, those who were dressed in the bridesmaids' dress, those of us who were dressed in the bridesmaids' dresses, we were escorted into a large vehicle and transported to the wedding destination. And on the way, I remember that it was daylight when we left, but just shortly after leaving that church building, it was nighttime. And I remember making the comment that I forgot to bring my tea because I knew that I would be singing at the wedding. Okay, so that was the end of the dream. Upon waking up, I was given understanding that the difference in the garments, first of all, represented the 5 wise and the 5 foolish. Okay, the ones that had on the Cinderella type dresses represented those who have been cleansed and transformed into righteousness. It is representing the transformation of the righteous. And those who had on red and black represent the apostate church. It represents the 5 foolish, those who are not ready, those who are still yet in slumber and have not come to realize the truth about the kingdom of heaven, that the church is not in the building, but it is within the literal body of the believer. And the specific type of people that I was shown in the dream in the red blouses and the black skirts is a representation of those who pridefully consider their goings into the building with their Bible in hand as their understanding of getting into heaven. And I'm just being honest with you because I have to be obedient. The Cinderella, like I said, Cinderella dress represented transformation. And remember how in the movie Cinderella, she was transformed from rags into this beautiful, flawless dress that was perfection. And this is what Father does with the righteous. And the red and black represents those who were left behind for a season, who did not make the wedding. And it really bothers me to say this, but possibly where it talks about weeping and gnashing of teeth, this is those who will not make it into heaven. And I'm going to read the scripture that I was given that explains this dream in its summation, which is Matthew 22, the parable of the wedding banquet. And I'm going to read verses 1 through 14. It says, And Jesus answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding. And they would not come. Again he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies, and destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. Then saith he to his servants, The wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways, and gathered together as many as they could find, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. I'm going to interject on the scripture right there, because the next part of the dream was about the guy who was dressed in the woman's clothing. This person had on a wig. He had on fake women's parts, not transgender, but he had things within his clothing to make him look like a woman. And this represents the next part of Matthew 22 about the uninvited guest. And it goes with Deuteronomy 22. So I'm going to read those scriptures. So continuing in Matthew 22 verse 11, it says, And when the king came to see the guest, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he saith unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and cast him into outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. Now remember, when I read the part of the dream about this man, I said it was very uncomfortable to watch, and he had a very prideful attitude about himself. And this was a play on words, because many are deceived about the pride movement. Father says in his word, and this is why he's having me read Deuteronomy 22. This is not to pass judgment on anyone, but to speak boldly what thus saith Father from his scriptures and what he has revealed in this dream. Please take all matters to Father in prayer. Deuteronomy 22 verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God. In the dream, this man did not have on the right garments. And in Matthew 22, he was cast into outer darkness, where there was weeping and gnashing of teeth. Brothers and sisters, I pray that you take this dream directly to Father, and I give him all the glory, but it is a very serious warning for us to be ready and to be prepared, for the wedding is about to commence.